I'm a sucker for look. I love when my footage are well seasoned, when they have this spicy taste, this filmic look. So I've been using Dehancer Pro for the past weeks, and I gotta tell you, I'm really disappointed. Disappointed in myself because I wish I started using it sooner. What's up? How you guys doing? I'm great, thank you for asking. Let's get straight to the point. The film look. The film look is getting popularity amongst filmmakers and video creators. But why? The film look gives a sense of nostalgia. It offers unique characteristics that digital cameras cannot replicate. When you look at texture, imperfection, grain, highlightation, it enhances the emotional impact of a visual. But you may ask yourself, I cannot achieve that look. How can I make my footage look like it was shot on film? Well, it's way easier than you think. And this is where Dehancer Pro comes into play. Disclaimer, Dehancer did not pay me to make this video and I did not purchase this plugin. But they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to test it out. And I said yes. All the things I'm saying are my personal opinion and they get to see this review the same time you are watching it. What is Dehancer? Dehancer Pro is a film emulation plugin that is specialized in emulating the distinctive aspect of traditional films. It offers tools like film grain, color grading, texture emulation, exposure control, allowing users to replicate the look and feel of classic film photography and cinematography like the popular Kodak 2383. How does it work? Dehancer works with Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, and After Effects, but for the sake of this video, we're gonna use Final Cut Pro. So right here, we have some beautiful images that we selected, and we're gonna try to use Dehancer Pro to grade them. Right here, we have something that was filmed with the Canon R5C 8K RAW at 60 frames per second. When I'm doing my color grading on my footage, I do it on an adjustment layer. So the first thing that I do is actually drop an adjustment layer on top of my footage. On this adjustment layer, I'm gonna do all the color grading that I need to do. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna click on the FX tab, go to film emulation, and we're gonna double click on Dehancer Pro. There's two ways you can do it. You can double click or you can click and drag. I usually like to double click. So when you open Dehancer, by default, this is what you see. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off the film, and also I'm gonna turn off film grain. So on my input, I'm gonna select the source. This was filmed on the Canon R5C 8K RAW. I'm gonna select the camera. I'm going with Canon. I'm gonna select R5C. Now the thing is, when I go to the R5C, Dehancer gives me only C-Log3. But since that was filmed with 8K RAW, I know for a fact that that was in C-Log2. So therefore, instead of using R5C, I'm gonna go with C70, because when I go to C70, I'm able to have C-Log2, Cinema Gamut, and C-Log3. Now, right off the bat, Dehancer gives you a really beautiful Rec 709 conversion. After selecting the camera in my input, what I'm going to do next is choose my film stock. So I'm going to enable this. By default, we have this film stock selected. So you have all these different film stocks that you can choose from. What I like to do is to click on each of them and try to find something that I like. I decided to go with the Fujicolor Natura 1600. Next thing we're going to do is select the film print. For the film print, you can use any options that you have here. Personally, for this one, I like the Fuji, so I'm going with the Fuji. And from this, if I want to tweak my image a little bit, I can do it. So I'm gonna lower just a little bit my temperature so I can have a little bit more of color contrast. Next thing I like to do is under my film print, I like to select analog range limiter. And from some reason, I feel like I gain a little bit more of details, and I'm gonna go back to my expand tab and play with my black slider. Personally, right here, I have a beautiful image that I'm really happy with. And what I'm going to do is add a little bit of film grain. Now, I love when I have grain, but it's not too obvious. Depends on what I'm doing or the work that I'm doing. But since these are footage from actual professional shoots, so I don't want my film grain to be too obvious. So on this one, I'm going to select the 65mm ISO 500. And afterwards, we're going to add a little bit of highlightation. Gonna select that. Personally, I feel the 35 is good, and we're gonna go down and add a little bit of vignette. I think the vignette gives you a little bit more focus on the subject. And personally, right here, I have a beautiful image that I love. One thing with Dehancer, it gives you the possibility to monitor your image. If you go on monitor, you can select false color and you are able to see if you are peaking or not, which area in your image that is peaking. You can also click on clipping indication. The clipping indication tells you exactly if you are clipping somewhere. Right here, I feel like I'm clipping a little bit more in my blacks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going back to my expand tab and I'm going to lower my blacks a little bit. If I add more blacks, you're gonna see underneath we are clipping blacks here. So I'm gonna drag it down just a little bit. Same thing with my whites, with my highlight. If I had more highlights, then I'm gonna see where in the area of the image where exactly I'm clipping. These are really good tools when you're using Dehancer that will help you have really nice exposure on your image. And one thing I love with Dehancer, it gives you the possibility to save everything that you just did as a lot. We came from this to this in a matter of a few clicks in a few seconds. We're gonna go to the next image. That was filmed with the Red Helium 8K on 8K widescreen. So same thing, we're gonna drag an adjustment layer, and from that adjustment layer, we're gonna do all the color grading that we want to do. So same thing, we're going to film emulation, and we're gonna double click on Dehancer. Then we're gonna turn off film and turn off film grain, and then we're gonna go to input and select the camera. So, and right here, we already have a beautiful Rec 709 conversion. Now don't forget, I told you that was filmed on the Red Helium 8K. If I go to my informations, I can modify my red settings because I have full control of my raw footage with red. All right, so let's go back to the answer. So from this, we're gonna add our film stock. For this one, I want to go with the Kodak Vision 3 200T. And from this already, I have an image that I'm happy with. I'm going to my film print and I'm going to select the Kodak Endura Glossy paper. And I'm gonna activate as well my analog range limiter. For my final tweaks, I'm going to the expand tab and I'm gonna play with my blacks and my whites as well. One thing I want to do, when you look at the bed, I feel like it's a little bit too yellow. So I can go to my raw settings, my red raw settings, and play with my Kelvin and temperature slider to see if I can have the white that I'm looking for. Personally, right here, I'm really happy with what I have. Now going back to the answer, we want to add a little bit of contrast and boost a little bit of color until we have an image that we are really satisfied with. And that's it. One thing you need to know is when you're working with red raw, these footage are usually noisy, so you will have to denoise your footage afterwards. So it is something that you can do prior, before doing your color grading, or afterwards, depends on what you like to do better. All right, next footage, same thing. This one was filmed also with the Red Helium, so we're gonna select that, and then afterwards we're gonna select our film print. For this one, I want to go with CineStyle 800T. I'm gonna add my film print, which is gonna be the Kodak 2383. What I need to do is lower my exposure, and now we're gonna play with our blacks and whites on the expand tab, and that's it. Coming from this to this in a matter of a few seconds. Boom. So next one, this was filmed with the Canon C70. It was an interview. So same, we're gonna add our adjustment layer, and on top of it, we're gonna drag the answer. Right off the bat, we have a beautiful Rec 709 conversion. We don't want to do too much because that was an interview setup from a documentary, and we want to give a natural feel to it. So from this one, we're gonna select, for our film print, we're gonna select the Kodak Vision 500D, and afterwards we're just gonna play with our blacks and white just a little bit. Since that was an interview setup from a documentary, we don't want to do too much. Coming from this to this is pretty much what I need. We have right here a footage that was filmed on a commercial project, and this is how I'm really challenging Dehancer, is to try to see how I can really have natural, beautiful commercial images. We have a beautiful Rec 709 conversion. We're just gonna tweak that image a little bit more. We're gonna select our film print, but for this one I wanted to go with the Kodak Portra 160. Now what we're gonna do is add our film print, and then go into the expand tab and play with our blacks and white. Right, so far I have an image that I like, but I want to boost the color just a little bit. Gonna add a little bit more of color density. Then afterwards we're gonna go to the film developer and add a little bit of color boost. Coming from this to this, I feel like I have the commercial look without pushing it too much. I'm gonna add a little bit of film grain and a little bit of hydration as well. Already I have an image that I'm really happy. However, I wanted to tweak it a little bit more. I'm just going to the hue and saturation curve. I'm gonna isolate our skin tone first and select the green of the leaf in the background. Before, after. Perfect. I'm able to get these images first from Dehancer and tweak it a little bit more onto the next one. This project was filmed back in 2021 and we used the Canon EOS-R, and that was filmed with the Atomos Ninja 5. We have a beautiful Rec 709 conversion, but we know we can do more with that image. In less than 1 minute, we are able to get from this to this, and I love it. Next image. All right, same thing. Perfect. Now I want to play with my temperature slider just a little bit so I can have pure whites right here, and then afterwards we're gonna add a little bit of color boost, and right here we have the skin tone of our model right here that really pops. All right, next one. And that's it. Before, after. Before, after. Last image, and that's a bonus one. That wasn't from a project. However, that was filmed on my iPhone while I was on the plane. So just to show you what Dehancer can do, you can also create iPhone footage. Perfect. Before, after. I really like what I have. So just to show you, in a matter of a few seconds, a few clicks, you are able to get really nice images by using Dehancer. And this is pretty much what I wanted to see. If I can have really nice images, but on professional shoots, on professional work, things that I can give to my clients. And just imagine how fast I'm able to grade my footage just by using Dehancer Pro. To address the elephant in the room, am I going to use it? Yes. I believe this plugin fits my need. It's perfect for my workflow with Final Cut Pro. Dehancer is 100% worth it for me. But for you, only you need to find out. If you want to try Dehancer, you can click the first link below or use the promo code JDayVisuals10 to get a 10% discount. With that being said, thank you for watching and I'll see you in another video. Peace.